Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to be comparing my 2020 M1 Mac Mini against what is replacing my setup, a 2012 Intel Mac Mini. I'm going to be doing an overall comparison of the physical changes that have happened on the machine, so in terms of all the ports that are there, and then I'm going to be doing a very basic performance comparison between the two, which should be good because we're comparing a machine that is almost 10 years senior. Okay, so I've had my Mac Mini since 2013 when I bought it from Apple's refurb store for £799. It has a, let me just check, it has a i7 2.3 quad-core processor with 4 gigs of RAM and a 256 gig hard disk. Yeah, you heard that right, I've been rocking 4 gigs of RAM for this entire 9 years, and I haven't had an issue with the majority of my web work in that time. So last year I brought in an Intel NUC in order to try and speed up some of the build times that I was getting by that point. But I ended up keeping my Mac Mini because I still wanted access to the design and development applications that I'd bought over the years. I considered moving to Windows and actually buying some of those applications again on Windows. I could have worked with the Windows subsystem for Linux, but I actually felt like that was kind of a difficult cycle and workflow, having to basically work around a problem that didn't exist on Mac OS. So I decided finally in 2021 to cough up and spend some money on a new on a new M1 Mac Mini. So so for the first part of the video, let's just have a look at some of the physical differences between these two machines. So let's compare these two models in terms of physical changes. You'll see at first glance that it seems like not a lot has changed between the two machines. Both feature the same aluminium silver body that was introduced in the 2010 model, and from the top you can't really tell which is which. You might be able to tell from the dirt on the top of the machines, but they're exactly the same dimensions. The M1 is 0.02 kilograms lighter, so you're not going to notice that either, and it's only when you move to the front of the two that you're able to actually see some changes. So in terms of, you can now see that this power light has moved. If I bring it in a bit, the power light has moved over here. So not a lot of difference there. If we flip them over, that's where we see all the changes in terms of connectivity. Okay. You see that the M1 has far fewer ports available. We've gone from 4 to 2 USB-A ports, so they've been laid out in a different fashion here. We've lost the audio in, and we've lost the memory card slot as well, and we've got rid of the FireWire 800 here and the mini display port. Mini display port. So that's a lot of ports gone. The HDMI port has also gone from HDMI has gone from 2560 by 1600 pixels to 6K resolution. We've got the addition of 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports using USB-C, which means a variety of ports that have been removed are still available if we cough up enough money for a collection of dongles. So I have a dongle like this one here, an Anchor one, and you can see it's got 2 ports and a bunch of other connections on the inside. So we've got another HDMI port and an SD card. but that's an additional expense. If you get the apple flavoured version, then it's incredibly expensive. Yeah, this annoys me quite a lot because there's still plenty of space on the rear here of the M1 for all the ports that have been removed, and it sounds like the reason there isn't four USB-Cs is that so they can replace their current Intel lineup later this year with an M1 version, which means an additional cost. I think the difference is 400 quid in that more expensive version at the moment. So yeah, connectivity is a massive downgrade between these two machines. Like, you think these are a decade apart, and we've gone from a multitude of different ports to only a few. That's frustrating. One of the best features that is on the older Mac Mini is the fact that I can actually, if I wanted to, update it. So you can turn it over, and if I'm strong enough, I can actually open the thing. Can we get that out? Let's flip it up. So a bit dusty, but we can actually get inside, and we can see the DIMMs straight away that can be replaced. I've never done this because I've actually found that it's been perfectly capable using 4 gigs the entire time that I've had it, which is kind of crazy. But it's just the fact that these new M1s don't have these features, and you only get what you pay for when you buy it. So there's no way that you can upgrade at a later date, which is incredibly frustrating. So that's something to bear in mind if you do opt for getting one of these new ones. I've never had cause to upgrade the RAM, though prior to purchasing my NUC, I did spend some time looking at whether or not upgrading it would be worthwhile, and went as far as buying the components before deciding that a NUC would be better money. So I'd be better off spending money on a NUC than on the updates to this. So we're talking about £200 here, and the NUC I think was 600 quid. And yeah, and now I'm here replacing it a year after having made the upgrades. But in fairness, nobody knew that there was a new version of Mini on the cards at this time last year. I didn't say at the beginning of this video, but the configuration that I've opted for is a 16 gig M1 it's got a terabyte of hard disk. I actually managed to find that as a refurb in their Apple store recently. So for the performance comparison, we're running the Python Performance Benchmark Suite. Both Macs are running the same version of Python 3.9.2. We've got the M1 on the left here, the Intel 2012 on the right, and both have been upgraded to the latest versions of their respective OS. So the Intel is running Catalina. This isn't intended to be completely exhaustive. If you want something like that, then I suggest you look at the many other videos on the internet that have already done that. So the Python performance benchmarks have now run. On the M1, they ran in just over 7 minutes, and on the Intel 2012 version, they ran in just over 12 minutes, so 5-minute difference. I don't think that's that much of an improvement on overall. I think that we aren't running those sorts of benchmark tests all the time. We aren't hammering the CPU all the time. If we were video editors, which amusingly I am now, if we were rendering stuff 24/7, then fair enough, it's something to have a concern about. But it's not really the case that we're doing that often. And we probably can live on the hardware that we've already got at the moment. We can eke it out a little bit longer and make the penny stretch. yeah, so that's kind of my thoughts on things. I've obviously upgraded. I felt like the performance gains that I get on, like just working day to day, would be beneficial. That said, I could still be using my 2012 Mac at this point. As it is, it's going to end up going up for sale for somebody else to make use of. Yeah, and so I hope you enjoyed that comparison. It's not something that I don't think many other people are doing, actually comparing the machines that they're swapping out with the newer M1. Most of these benchmarks tend to be people who are upgrading like machines that have only just dropped out of fashion. So the 2018 or 2019 with these horrible kind of keyboards and things like that. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, please consider subscribing to my channel. Please give it a like, or please share with somebody else who you think would enjoy looking over the differences. I'm going to be making some more M1 videos in the future, so we're doing a couple of other comparisons with other machines. Might compare it against the Intel NUC, for example. Yeah, and so I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye. Hi everyone, I'm Ian, and you are. Hi everyone. Hi everyone, I'm Ian, and in today's video I'm going to be comparing my 2020 Mac Mini Python, those benchmark. Do this all day. Like, practicing doing stuff is so difficult. Don't realise it. It's pretty hard, you lot. Apple.